Hello everybody and welcome back to Colony Survival. Now, as I said in the last video, we're going to start building this big ass castle over here. Now, I didn't really talk about this during the last video, but this is essentially the drawbridge section that's going to connect to the portcullis at this level. It's going to be a pretty big thing, like you can see where the edges of it are actually going to be. So this door is going to go all the way up to it and connect to the middle of that. And this is sort of the point where it sort of almost lands on the wall connection piece, which is this sort of bridge bit that comes out a little bit from the wall. I just thought I'd let you guys know about that before we head right into doing this, because this is going to be a lot of me jumping up and down building a wall. Like, there isn't really any better way to put that. Like, chances are a lot of this is going to be time-lapsed, and I'm not actually sure I put that back in the right fucking place, which is a bit of an issue. Is that in the right place? I'm not actually sure. I do not believe it is. That needs to be moved one back, because there seems to be 5 in the middle. There we go. Also, that needs to be wood, which is very helpful. But yeah. Although it needs to be like... oh fuck. I'll build it up and then put the wood at the top. That makes more sense to me. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of that and probably time lapses. Like, I haven't really done a building video in a while. Like, I've done a lot of work towards one for Fallout 4, I believe was the last one that I was setting stuff up for, and that is sort of, it's still on its way, but I've recently started playing Colony Survival. It was a really fun game. I wanted to take you guys on this journey while I build this giant frickin' castle that is just gonna dominate my colony as this sort of almost figurehead, I suppose. Now, I'm not sure how much you guys want me to sort of talk you through my process in setting this up, but basically what I've done is created a framework that goes all the way around the lake and everywhere where I want to build the walls up. That basically is just it's basically just a template that I can build directly on top of without really having to do a huge amount of building, like, straight up from the bottom of the lake, because that would be incredibly time consuming. Now, I'm going to have to do this wall like twice, because much like those walls that are over there, which I'm not sure you can see very well because of the shadow of the sun currently, but they're like too thick, like this is, where it has like a gap in the middle and then you have a second wall, which is basically so you can have the crenellations and the walkways on top, which look really nice, but it makes building walls obviously double the time that it would do if you just had normal thickness walls. Now, these bits that I'm currently working on are, I think it's kind of obvious, these are the like corner piece, the guard towery segments that obviously can have arches in that sort of protect the landscape and your castle as a whole, which should hopefully look pretty big and imposing, considering these are probably about triple the size of the like guard towers on the actual fort. And these things, there are 4 of these all around in the sort of traditional castle style, of having the 4 guard corner pieces, which sort of quite heavily protect the castle, I feel. Obviously I can't build the circular ones, which historically are much easier to defend and much harder to siege, but obviously being in a square game, it's a little difficult to build circles. I could do the old Minecraft style thing of getting the circles sheet out and building giant circles, which obviously are still cubes, but I feel like just sticking with the square aesthetic that everything else follows in this place probably be a lot better. Now, I'm not sure how much more I can just blabber on about how these walls are going to work, so I might end up time-lapsing a lot of these segments. But I hope you guys enjoy this build as a whole, because, like I said, this thing should be a pretty impressive thing once it's done. Like, it's going to be kind of big as is. It's going to require a crap load of stone. Like, I probably still don't have enough stone. Like, I produce probably about 50 a day or something like that with all of the miners that I have, and I still don't think that's going to be enough to actually fully complete this place. yet, anyway. But it should do eventually, anyway. Now here comes a slight difficulty spike in the fact of it's becoming nighttime, which poses a slight issue due to the fact of I'm not sure how far I can build during the night. I think I've got the glow thing turned on. Yes, I do. Well, the glow thing just adds a sort of basic ball of light around the player character, so you can see in the dark, which is quite helpful. I'm not sure I showed this off in the other video. This is the stockpile where all of the stuff that you have you can put into and your villagers can use, or your colonists. To actually use it yourself you do have to drag it to the hotbar, and that's how you craft stuff over here in this crafting window. Oh, I think zombies can in fact get on my wall, which now means I have to try and get back into the colony without being killed in the middle of the night. Some little bit of excitement in the middle of this nice, calm and relaxing base build of the fact that zombies can now climb onto my wall. Which means they might also be able to climb into the village. Can they get up this high? No! Good job, me. I managed to find a way around. Yeah, I don't think they can actually get onto this bit, so we're okay for now. But I will see you guys in the day, because we can't really build at night time. Right, so we can get back to building now. It's been a little bit. Haven't actually closed the game down since the last one. The last daytime that we had, I just sort of stood around inside the base and let my archers do their work in killing literally everything that walked near the base, because I'm not sure I really showed those archers off in the tour enough, but there are, I think, 5 on the front gate, and then there are 3 stood just inside the base on top of the, like, mineshaft bit. And those guys basically just rain hell on that doorway, like nothing is getting in there ever. Like the number of enemies that spawn within the world is increased by the number of colonists you have, I do believe. And at this point we have 50 colonists, as you can see in the top left, and those zombies still don't get anywhere near that gate. Like they might get near like the right tower because there's a lot of space there, like with the bunkhouse and stuff being there, but still those guys ain't getting on the base. And I don't think they're ever going to get the base going through that way, because that place is pretty well fortified, and once the castle's in place, with the archers set up in here, nothing's getting anywhere near this place, like, ever. Because, apart from on that other side, where all of the archers are stacked up, which should basically counteract that. But this place is going to be pretty much impenetrable, because of the fact that it has one entrance through the village, and that is then fortified with all of the pre-existing archers. Having the secondary archers in the towers over here, like nothing's getting in. Which basically means once this is completed, there is basically nothing to do other than just continual expansion, which is possibly a downside, because then there's not really much of a game left to play. The only thing I think achievement-wise that's really left for me to do, other than obviously as stated the continual expansion thing, would be to go and find a mountain biome, which I've never actually seen. I might make an effort to try and find one at some point, whether that's as a series or what, I don't know. Depends how much you guys really want me to go out and do something like that. Like if you guys want me to go out and find a mountain biome and do that sort of stuff, then I will I'll make an effort to do so, because I feel like that might be kind of fun to do. But currently concentrating on just building stuff, because if you guys didn't already know from the previous content on the channel, I quite enjoy creative building stuff. That's why I enjoy building bases in Fallout 4 so much. It's why while I'm doing this, I guess, building this gigantic castle that I don't technically need to build. Like my colony is it's pretty well fortified as is. Like this is just an extra extension on that. Now I'm going to need to drop down and build those interior walls eventually. I think I've done one of the towers at the back already like that. I think I'm just going to try and get the exterior walls up to the height of everything else to begin with. because that way hopefully we won't get any more zombie attacks in the middle of the night. And I can see where the zombies got on now. There is a 1 block high bit over there, where one of the towers is, which looks like that is what caused my issue. Although we are producing way more stone than I need now. Like, we should be able to build this castle. I should actually be able to build this castle, and my colonists are doing their jobs really well now. And I think it is because I learnt how those the crates work, the storage box things. Because before I didn't know how they worked, and basically just wasn't using them. So there was that one storage box that's inside the sort of original crafting tent they were all going back to. But yeah, I think I'm just going to do the rest of this sort of time-lapse style and just get the whole base thing set up. So I'll see you guys very shortly. Now, as you guys can see, we've done the main exterior wall, or at least this base level, and from here we can basically just build the entire castle without interruptions during the night. However, it's not going to look quite as pretty as it will during the day. We'll have to just work with it for now, but we're going to put down these new polished wood pieces, which is what I've got from using flax to create this. I think it is literally just called like polished wood, coated planks, there we go, which look darker and also have this sort of shine effect to them, which looks really nice. Now this whole thing, I wanted to build it up to be like a big gate thing. It kind of looks much like everything else, sort of impressive and almost sort of daunting as you're walking up to it. So it's going to have to be kind of a big gate that's going to come up and go round and back down again, obviously to the other side. In order to build that, I think we have to go back just a little bit first anyway. I kind of don't want to fall in, but there's no like hold shift to stay on thing, so that's fun. But yeah, I'm gonna have to build the internal secondary walls soon. Which I'm trying to think of what would give me a better angle to build around the corner, basically. Building that will not do that apparently. There we go. So I have the other side of the wall there, which is nice and in place. However, there is no underside to that brick, which is a bit of an issue. There we go. Underside in place. Now this is going to go all the way around and obviously form the inside wall, which then we need to build like the internal segments as well for the rest of the castle. I think we should probably focus on the walls first and make sure everything's in place before building the extra stuff, but it's building out the main level might be an advantage to do as well, so I'm probably going to work on building that out now actually, which means I need some of these planks too to do like the inside of these guard towers at the base, so that these things have a floor within them. I'm not sure how much of this is going to be taken up by other stuff, because obviously, like I said, the 3 connector walls, the 3 block wide walls are going to have to connect into this place, which means the doorways into them are going to have to be either as part of the wall or go round here, basically. Frame rate seems to be tanking a little bit. I think it might be because I'm recording as well. Speed is an issue. It's not too big of a deal though. So yeah, this is the base of a guard tower. There's a lot of room in these as well, like a lot of room. Can get a couple archers like along here, just to shoot out and protect from all of the zombies. Those hordes are quite big now. Like 50 colonists produces a lot of zombies apparently. or whatever these things are. Like, yeah, there are a fucking shitload of these things. I'm gonna have to walk a long way around to get to that front door as well, and they are coming in fucking droves, Jesus. Yeah, hopefully that's not too big of a deal. Yeah, the frame rate is tanking a little bit. A little bit. I think it might be just because of the number of zombies, to be honest. I'm trying to work out what material we use best to go through this entire place, because obviously I need to do... Right, I'm going to go along, do the walls like this, which I will probably time-lapse myself doing. Go along, do the walls like that, and then do the dirt central piece, and obviously these wood bits. I will see you guys in a few minutes. I'm just going to go and time-lapse through all of that. Now that's obviously the exterior walls basically done to this level. We still have to build up the actual walls that are going to have the crenellations on top. Now I did just want to say, before I get into building those, that the actual crenellation parts are going to be done a little differently from these walls over here. Rather than having them be part of the wall, I'm going to have them come out slightly from the wall, so they're sort of embossed from the wall, although I think embossed is going inwards, but yeah, technically the same thing. Of having something pop out from the wall to make it stand out more and look a little more imposing, which is the sort of main plan for most of this castle. So I'm going to get on with those, and I'll see you guys very shortly. Now that is the walls done to a height of 3 all the way around. Now we do have to extend them up to obviously the height of this gate to begin with, but then we also have to go higher than that, because if I go and show you guys out on the non-existent drawbridge a little bit, obviously that is obviously the top of the first gate, but then we're going to have to go up even further than that to build up the crenellation-y segment, which sort of will run across where there is, basically. So like 2 or 3 blocks above that will be the start of the crenellations from a bottom upwards perspective, anyway, which should make the castle pretty damn tall as is. We'll see what it looks like once we get to that stage. But yeah, the walls are coming along pretty nicely, I think. I'm gonna have to extend the stone in once more. Is something that I've decided. So this is obviously the inside of the wall, and this is the internal side of the wall. But then this part here is going to be basically a bit of stone that's going to run all the way around the internal part, and then there's obviously going to be dirt and grass and stuff in here as well, which is going to serve as the castle grounds, basically, and the actual building of the internal sort of castle house bit is going to go back here, which we'll lay down the groundwork for once the walls are completely in place, which they should be very soon. Probably a couple more time lapses. I'm not sure how much this video is covered already. I'm not sure if this is going to be part 2 or not, but I think I'm going to just leave it here for a second just to see about footage wise, and obviously if I then continue to time lapse stuff, then you know this is the second part. So see you guys very soon, hopefully.